Hello friends, I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? I hope everything is good and great and wonderful. I'm fantastic. I brought the laptop because this is the last video for this week, so I wanted to bring you up to date on where I am with the book. And I can tell you that I'm almost back on track. I am like, at this point, I'm about 200 words short of today's goal. So I've written almost 3,000 words today, getting caught up, and I feel good about it. I feel good about it in a feel bad kind of way, and I'll tell you why in a second. But basically, this morning I woke up and I actually woke up. Like I woke up and I didn't have that weird fogginess I've been experiencing over the last week, and I did my normal morning thing, made some coffee, watched some YouTube. And while I was doing that or checking the news or something, I had a realization that I've been writing all of these kind of disconnected scenes of this character going through this area of the world and exploring things and finding new things. And when I was writing this previous scene, he was basically going to look for something, a quest, say. And when he gets there, I just was like, hey, let's have something crazy happen. And so I wrote this crazy, like, what, into the book, and it's out of left field. It's like, what is going on here? And I just had fun writing it, and that was part of my way of getting through that, because it was like, let's just make something strange, And it gave him motivation to kind of explore a little bit more than he was expecting. It gave him motivation to try to take in this odd happening and figure out what was going on. And suddenly I had all of this. My character had some agency in that moment to be like, I'm on this quest, I need to do this thing right now, but what's going on here? And he kind of thought about it for a while, and I got to show some new things with the way that he can manipulate the world. And so when I got this morning, I realized that maybe that's the focus of the problem, or the larger conflict that I was imagining for this book. And I was planning on having some sort of creature or whatever, but I don't think I need to yet. I have this character that is mentioned quite a few times throughout the book, and she is, weeks ahead of my main character on this kind of journey. And we know that he is pursuing her, and that she means something to him, and she also seems to be an antagonist of some sort. Not necessarily a villain, but an antagonist. And I realized that, she was kind of intended to be a series arc. Like, she's kind of a thing that's driving some stuff. And I realized that I didn't have to leave her 2 weeks ahead. Like, wait a minute. Like, why isn't all of this stuff that's happening in this little local area where he's at right now, it could be her. This is my world. She could have come back, right? Or whatever. And so in that moment, I had a whole lot of realizations, and I just started typing. And I got a whole bunch written this morning. I got a whole bunch written at lunchtime. And like I said, right now, I'm a couple hundred words short, and I'm pretty positive I'm going to blow through that tonight, because I'm getting ready to write a new perspective scene from one of the other characters, and it's really fun, and I'm just going to plow through it, and I get to explore that character a little bit more. And he's had like a massively life-altering event happen to him, so I get to now write that from his perspective instead of the outside perspective. So I'm going to really enjoy that. I'll probably blow away and write quite a bit tonight as I settle into this. But that's good. It's a good thing. The thing is, I talked to my friend Scott. Oh, I wanted to tell you how many words I'm at. I talked to my friend Scott today. He messaged me and said last night and said, "Hey, I saw your video, and understand that." His advice was that writing is hard work, period. And when times are tough, writing is damn near impossible. And he said that's for him and lots of writers he knows, that's why they haven't been able to write anything in 2020, because the world is such turmoil, it's impossible to focus. And I said, I get that. But I wanted to put "but" in chair time, and I've just been banging out words regardless of what they are. And he encouraged me. He's like, just do that. Right now you're just vomiting on the page. And I told him, you know, the amount of rewrite that I'm going to have to do is a little bit overwhelming, but I've also realized as I've written these last few chapters just how much I've underwritten this book. I'm currently at 33,126 words. I think that if I were to go edit it right now, I would probably be closer to 50,000 words. And I mean that sincerely. Like, I underwrite that much. So much of the early chapters are just kind of fast-paced, let's get through this and move on, instead of letting you experience the world through the characters, instead of kind of showing the reader the world and explaining how things are. I just kind of blew through it, and my intention at that time when I was writing it was to kind of hold back and piecemeal it all in and give you little bits of detail. But I think for this particular story, and I'm trying to write a more pulp kind of thing here. I'm trying to write more just, you know, popcorn fantasy. And I think for this particular story, I need to just give it to you and just let you have it. And I can still hold back pieces. Like, I'm not going to give you everything, because then there's no compulsion to continue reading. I will hold back bits and things, but I don't need to hold back everything and slowly trickle in little winks and nods and reveals to you like a mystery novel or like a epic, you know, fantasy saga. I can kind of be a little bit blunt with it and hit you over the face with it right from the beginning, and I need to do that. So 33,126 words. I'm confident that I have at least that much left to go in this story, and then I think it'll probably go closer to 80 to 90,000 once I rewrite. And that's exactly kind of where I wanted to be. It's on the very low end for a fantasy novel, and that's my point. I wanted it to be on the very low end. I wanted it to be one of those reads that you just sit down and burn through. And I hope that that's what comes out of it. But I'm excited, and Scott's advice was just write the words. Regardless of how bad you screw up everything that you've already written, you'll just go back through it. And right now, you know, he said right now you're discovering the characters. And I agree with him. I'm discovering the characters and I'm discovering the world all at once. And so as I develop in later chapters, I have completely obliterated rules that I set forth in the beginning, or I've made up new rules that need to go back and be retroactively added into the world all throughout the book. Or I've really changed writing styles, because right now I'm reading Stephen King, and so a lot of what I'm writing is mocking him unintentionally. It just happens that way. But that's not a bad thing. It just means I need to go make sure that the tone of the book is equal throughout. So there's a whole lot going on, but the point of all of this is I picked up my stride again. I'm going to be back on target, and I'm pretty confident. I know of at least 2 insert chapters that I want to write. So there's like 6,000 to 8,000 words right there that I need to just stick in that aren't a continuation of the story. I mean, they are, but they're not from this point forward. So I've got a lot of words sitting here in my head that need to get written, and I just need to actually sit down and bang it out this weekend. I think I'm going to be in a pretty good spot come Monday. So if you want to know, follow me on Twitter, because I've been trying to post pretty regular updates there. And you can find out more about the project. If you have any questions, I'll answer them. I'm being coy here because I don't want to show my hand. As you know, for me particularly, when I show my hand and say, I'm going to do this, or this is about this, I lose the interest in it. So I want to keep that to myself until I've got it on the page, and then I can talk to you about it. That's it. It's a weekend. I've got my children. I'm excited to have them. We're going to go to dinner tonight and then hang out. And maybe, I'm going to say this, and hopefully this doesn't ruin it. Monster and I are going to come down here this weekend and try to make something. We'll see. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends and wonderful people. I really appreciate you. And I will see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know to sound smart is derivative. It is an adjective meaning copied or adapted from others. Only at his maximum does an individual surpass all his derivative elements and become purely himself. D.H. Lawrence, a British author. Derivative. D-E-R-I-V-A-T-I-V-E. I'm trying very hard to keep my story from being derivative of Stephen King. but I'm enjoying his books.